Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The first video I made on this is extremely popular, and I'm glad you guys are digging it. I kind of figured since I threw together a 1-hour video that I would get dislikes because it was a long, lengthy video, and it wasn't even all the information. There's more information, and that's what this video is, or audio, video, however you want to say it. Anyway, this is going to go into more detail, stuff that I didn't go over in the very first video. So if you like that, stick around, and we're going to be going into more detail. Alright, jumping right into it is survivors/NPCs info. Question is, when you send one of your survivors out on a mission, how are you alerted when they get into trouble? The answer is your home base has a communication center, one that is always manned by an NPC. He or she will get the panicked call for help and relay the information to you, meaning whatever survivor you are playing at the time. Yep, alright. On to the next one. If I'm about to die or don't have what it takes to get home, may I radio for help? And is there a possibility help may die on the way? Answer. If the character you are driving has earned sufficient influence within your community, you will have some resources you can draw on for inspiration, stamina, medical advice, and more. There are some resources you will have access to in return for earning the trust/support of other NPCs. But you cannot just summon any available survivor to come to your aid when you're out and running into trouble. Go armed and take no shame in fleeing. Sweet. Alright, next question. Will all the playable characters be in the world at the beginning of the game, or will some spawn appear only if previous characters have died? Kind of went over this in the other one, but it's another different answer. Answer is, there are storyline characters already in the world when you log in for the first time. Others, and I'm told the vast majority, appear as you play. If you manage to kill everyone that happens to be in the world in one miniature apocalypse of your own making, except for whoever you happen to be playing at the time, you may meet an NPC who knows where to find a survivor that has escaped you, but don't expect to find anywhere near the number of survivors as you might have otherwise found. So I really like that. That's throwing in some mechanics just in case somehow like everybody dies, the majority of people die, and with the vehicles, if you somehow blow up all your vehicles, you'll stumble upon just random people that might be able to help you out with like one other survivor or one other car, but it's going to be for a price, they say. Alright, into the next question. Are there any other characters who can get me items from outside, i.e. guns, survivor, jumbo jets? Answer, no jumbo jets, but yeah, there are NPCs who still have connections, as implied by the last answer. Yep, exactly. Alright, next question. Will there be survivors in different age groups, like elderly, teens, or kids? Answer, there are no young children, and the adults are mostly in their prime, though there is some variance. And I've seen some screenshots of there was an older gentleman standing on a balcony with his Winchester rifle. He looked like he was in his 50s or so. So I'd say when a normal adult to kind of a slightly older middle-aged adult. Alright, so here we go into the next question. Can all survivors carry the same amount of weight? Are the survivors themselves of different physical types? Answer, survivors can carry different amounts of weight based on their character traits. There's a variance in height, weight, and skin tones. Alright, cool. So it just depends on the character traits. They'll be able to carry different amounts in weights. Alright, so to the next question. Is there a limit to the number of characters that can be in a community, given that I will be able to feed them all and give them a place to rest? Answer, that's a pretty big given. You could theoretically rescue every survivor in the game, given the ability to house them and feed them, but that definitely will not be easy. So interesting. It's kind of I don't know, it sounds like it can, so we'll still see. Alright, so next question. How do we change between characters? Can we switch during combat? Can we switch while we're actively on a mission? Do we have to be in a safe area? Answer is, you can switch by talking to them, or you can switch via your journal menu. You can switch to one of your family members, a survivor in your group that trusts you completely, anytime that are not busy, e.g. on a mission or actively hiding because they are panicked. Sweet. Right, next question, will there be other groups of survivors out there or any non-zombie related enemies that might be out to get you? Answer: you will encounter other small groups of survivors who have banded together. You can either try to convince them to join your community or do a little trading with them. For State of Decay, we've made the decision to not have any human survivors actively seeking to do you harm. They might not like you or want to help you, but you do not need to fear getting shanked in the dark by anyone that isn't undead. And it ends as they end it as, that is, you do not need to fear it in the initial launch of State of Decay. I make no promises beyond that point. Yeah, because they have talked about adding co-op down the line, depending on the initial popularity and sales and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. I mean, it's the way they make games these days. Game developers, a lot of times they add more stuff with the updates, and we're definitely going to be having a couple updates. I think Xbox Live Arcade is allowed 2 or 3 free updates the companies are allowed, and then they have to pay for everyone after that. And I remember reading some more Minecraft, the 4J Studios, because it's such a big game that they're allowed to have a few more free updates than the average game, which I guess pissed off a lot of other developers. Anyway, back to the questions. Here we go. Next question. Do the NPCs spawn in a consistent location? Can I imagine the main NPCs with main backstories appearing at similar landmarks? But what about the minor randomized NPCs? Are their locations randomized as well? Answer: you got it exactly right. The main storyline characters appear in the same place every time you play through the game, but the semi-random characters appear semi-randomly. Note that survivors will group up when they can, especially if they are not part of your community. They will also react to the immediate environment. For example, a survivor group that randomly settles into a grocery store will have food for trade in exchange for cases of ammo, the universal currency. While one of the while one that settles into an industrial supply store might have construction materials to offer as well. See, I love that little aspect. And the randomness is way cool too. It adds extremely high replayability value. All right, next question. How many survivors can you bring on a mission? Answer: most missions you run as an individual character. Survivors have learned that running into group attracts unwanted attention, and stealth is a priority for them when you're not doing the driving. There are some specific circumstances where you can call out a specific survivor to join you, but they're special, and you'll recognize them when you get into them. Interesting. All right, so next question. Is there some way to instruct the character around you to do tasks? Say if you were in a scavenging group and also wanted to set up an ambush? Answer: in State of Decay does not feature an NPC ordering system, not like that. You can have other survivors come out and scavenge resources in an area you've discovered, and they will perform their appointed tasks at your home base. They will also take their cues from you in the field. If you shoot, they'll feel free to shoot. If you are being stealthy, they'll be stealthy. Awesome. Next question, will NPCs know how to conserve ammo also, or will they just randomly, or will they just completely Rambo it up and waste resources quickly? Will they also be able to use bombs, landmines, grenades, and Molotov cocktails, or are those just items that you use when you're playing as a character? Answer: NPCs, in this answer I will use the term to mean a survivor that is not currently being played by you, uses guns and weapons. But do not use other items. NPCs are also pretty careful about using guns, mostly because it makes a ton of noise. They'll look to you to open up the shooting. Okay, cool. Next question. Say your base begins to get attacked and overwhelmed. Is there an evacuate/abandon order you can give to everyone to get the hell out of there and run for their lives? Maybe set up a rendezvous point for your survivors to get to, or a second base to meet at? Answer: just a nit. You won't be able to have a second official home base. You can have a base with facilities you can add and upgrade, and you can have as many outposts as your base can support. No facility besides supply storage. You can change bases if you find one you like better, but you cannot have two. But the answer to your question is that you actually asked is no. So yeah, you cannot set up rendezvous points. Oh well, not a big deal. Remember, again, this is a $20 game, so we're getting a lot for a $20 game, which is the new trend. You know, I think Minecraft kind of sparked that whole thing. And Minecraft is essentially a game with unlimited replayability, and I think that kind of opened the doors for the next series of games. All right, so now we're moving on to health/injuries. Question: will bones break, and if they do, does your character limp? Answer. Characters who suffer long-term injuries cannot be taken out for missions, but you may see them staggering around your home looking for somewhere to lie down. In parentheses, dude, build an infirmary already. Yeah, alright, cool. Next question. If I'm low on stamina, is there a way of regeneration? Finding a bed and barricading the room? Or energy bars? Answer. Yes, you got the answer on your first try. So finding a bed, that's how you regenerate your stamina. Or resting, I guess, in general. Question. Is there a way to heal myself in combat? Answer. There are consumables. They work better if the character in question has some sort of medical skill. Alright, so there you go. So that's why he couldn't exactly say that. Alright, cool. Totally makes sense. Awesome. Alright, now we're going on to weapons. Question. Can jammed/degraded weapons be repaired, and how? Answer. Yes. Assuming you have at least built a workbench at your base, a machine shop upgrade would be even better. So yes, you can, and I believe you need to have a survivor that has a skill too. Alright, next question. Will we be able to repair/maintain melee weapons durability at our base, or can we do it on the fly? Answer. You need to do all repairs at your home base. But since this Q&A is about tactics, let me remind you that repairs can be done in a very tactical way. Repairing something takes a proper facility, a survivor with proper skill to do the job, and time. Time passes in the world when you're offline. So play hard when you're online, bring your busted up weapons back to the base, tell your repairman to get to work and log off. He'll slave away while you sleep, and when you log back in, you'll be ready to rock. I love how they're answering some of these questions. Alright, next question. Will we be able to use a gun as a club if we run out of ammo? Answer. No. And as far as guns go, they're far too valuable to abuse in that way. So no, you will not be able to use your gun as a melee weapon. There's a ton of melee weapons, so don't even worry about it. Question. Will there be different types of ammunition? Answer. Yes, we've tried to be reasonably accurate with the guns and ammo types. Some types will be harder to find than others. To be clear, at this time we differentiate by caliber. We do not have variances within the caliber like HP plus P, FMJ, JHP, or things like that. Remember that ammunition is a resource to be managed. You cannot just roll into Walmart and buy cases of this stuff. Makes sense. Which is what I love. That's what I loved about the original Resident Evils, is you had to keep track of literally every bullet. And then the later Resident Evils, all it is just you're shooting all your bullets all the time. It's so annoying. Alright, so back to the questions. Will guns jam less if you are more experienced? A very short answer, yes. Next question. Will we be able to clean guns in order to use them longer? Answer. In State of Decay, cleaning is included in maintenance and repair activities. That's awesome. Alright, next question. It was stated that we could take multiple zombies out with one shot of an assault rifle. Can we expect zombies to be a 1 to 2 shot kill to the head, 1 shot kill to the head or chest with a shotgun at close range? Answer. Depends on the type of ammunition and how close the range is. Very short answer to that. Next question. Can found objects be used as melee weapons, such as pipes, rocks, etc.? I went over this in the first one. This is a different answer. Well, different question, different answer. So, well, it's a similar answer, but it's worded different. So here's the answer. There are hundreds of melee weapons to be found and used in the game. Some of them are items like pipes, yes, but they've been coded as weapons so the game will recognize them. You cannot just pick up any old pipe and have it work. You'll see what I mean. It's a limit of the technology at this time, which is still fine by me. I don't have to like rip off a freaking pipe off my kitchen sink and beat a zombie with it. It doesn't have to be that realistic, especially for a $20 game or 1,600 Microsoft points. All right, next question. Can you put a suppressor on every weapon except the shotgun? Answer. No, revolvers and shotguns are excluded completely. There are a couple rifles that are excluded and probably a pistol as well. There are the high caliber weapons that require specialized machine shops to manufacture. Also, suppressors for the big 50 calibers are about diffusing point sources for sound and dust signatures, not for significantly limiting the decibels. Interesting. They're really gone into real detail on the weapons. So I really like that. All right, next question. If we're crouching in water, will our guns jam more easily? Answer. No. Water mainly affects movement. Once you reach a certain depth, you will not be able to fire. It does not affect maintenance / degradation at this time. Okay, cool. they say at this time, so maybe down the line. Who knows? All right, now we're moving on to items. Will there be anything like an air horn grenade or something that makes a lot of sound to attract zombies to it? Portable radios, maybe? Answer, yes, you're going to enjoy trying different objects out. And it's cool. I've seen in the video they have obviously the firecrackers. I've seen a clip where there's like a kitchen timer, those old kitchen timers you wind up and it goes off. And I've heard there's numerous other ones. So there'll be different ways to distract zombies. All right, next question. Will Swiss Army knives be available? Very short answer, no. I'd rather have a pipe than a Swiss Army knife if I'm having a zombie horde come at me. So, I mean, if I want to pull out my screwdriver or tweezers, maybe, I don't know. I digress. Back to the questions. As soon as guns have ammunition and melee weapons have durability, will some foodstuffs spoil / have an expiration date of sorts? Answer, first and foremost, all of your resources stockpiled are subject to being used up over time. Construction materials are used to reinforce defensives. Fuel is used to run generators if you go that route. And food, medicine, and ammo all serve as part of your community's daily needs. But food is also a special case. Food spoilage isn't a huge concern initially, but the longer your community survives, the more important it is to start preserving food via curing, salting, pickling, or refrigeration. Don't stress too much about your personal inventory of energy-boosting snacks, though. Those Twinkies in your backpack are good for another millennia at least. Awesome. Yes. There's just so much detail to this game. I'm so impressed. All right, now we're moving into miscellaneous game stuff. Question, will there be one bite and you're dead or anything of the like, such as a hardcore mode? Answer, not a one bite mode. In State of Decay, you'd last about 10 minutes with that. Just you're dead and you're dead mode. Yeah, that's why they have the other survivors. You die and you're dead. So that's to encourage you to find other survivors so you can keep playing longer. But in my thoughts, I figured I'd play it through the first time, or maybe first time at least normal, and then my second or third time playthrough I would make my own hardcore mode where I would just try to play on my own, or maybe with just one or two other survivors. That's my plan at least. Alright, next question. When in stealth mode, will there be a silent takedown button? Answer, yes, there are special skills, yes, there are special stealth skills if you manage to sneak up behind a zombie, or two if you have the right skills while you are stealth. Yes, that is awesome. Alright, next question. Will there be any zombies that are actually in possession of items and or packs? Answer, no. As you would expect in a real zombie apocalypse, none of the zombies are carrying around sweet loot. Yeah, no, you're not going to really... you see like a freaking zombie coming down with a guitar in his hand. Yeah, you're not going to see that. Alright, sorry. Next question. It has been said that areas surrounding bases are relatively safer, but do areas generally have specific ratings? Maybe ranked by color coding for green zones to yellow to red? This has generally got to do with the tactics of sending survivors out on missions. How do we know how safe they're going to be traveling through certain areas? Or is safety indirectly proportional to the distance traveled from the main base? Answer. There is no color coding, but you can still... you can still learn a lot from looking. There's a visible safe zone on the map around your base and outpost, and the radius of that zone depends on many factors. You can see how many safe zones you have established and gauge whether the path for NPCs on missions is likely to be safe or hostile. Hordes will be visible on your map, and if they are within a reasonable visual range, and the surveying skill will also help you spot trouble without first running into it. If you have got strong base defenses, you will be able to repel the zombies that are attracted to the light and noise of your activities. Other than that, you should just assume that the world is unsafe. Yeah, I've heard about like with the sniper can like help scope out stuff for you. So yeah, another thing that's just completely awesome. All right, next question. If my strategy for one of my playthroughs would be to establish a self-sustaining community within my home base, a la grow my own food / distill and purify our own water from a natural water source, scavenge for materials to make our own ammunition, would this be possible in State of Decay? Answer, if you do not trigger any of the main storyline missions, which sometimes will result in a world-changing events that ratchet up to pressure you could theoretically play for quite a long time. State of Decay is a sandbox, after all, and there's no reason a properly built community should not be stable and self-sustaining. I look forward to seeing how long you last. Alright, next question. Since this game is in third person, will we be able to toggle between shoulder views? Example, aiming down left shoulder, then switch to aiming down right shoulder. Answer, you can flip the shoulder view while using most firearms. Awesome. I was thinking about that last night. That's funny how that just randomly came up. Maybe I'm somewhat psychic. So that's cool. That's way cool. Alright, so next question. It's mentioned that you can miss getting the head pop / lethal kill depending on what kind of melee weapon you're using. Does this mean that I have to physically aim my reticle at the zombie's head and then swing, and a miss would be due to my reticle being too high or low or not on the head, etc.? Or is it more of a face the zombie and press the melee button, where then depending on my skill in whatever skills are involved in melee combat would affect the chance / probability of my character getting a head pop? Answer, the latter. For melee weapons, as discussed, guns are different. You do not have to aim melee attacks the way you would aim a gun, but melee is still very much about player skill. There are a variety of techniques your characters can master and tactics you can develop to finish off a zombie quicker. For example, getting behind a Zed and shoving it headfirst into a wall would take it out instantly. Facing a Zed, dodging its attack, and then counter-attacking, if your character knows how to do that and has the right kind of weapon, can knock it down, leaving it vulnerable to a quick finishing move. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, now we're moving on to survivors. More detail and info on survivors. Question. If some of your survivors leave due to low morale or whatever, are they gone for good, or can you convince them to come back later, assuming that they live that long? Answer. If they leave your community, it's possible to win back their trust, but it is very, very difficult. After a survivor runs off or goes off missing, you may get an opportunity to find them and bring them home. If that opportunity appears, you best take advantage. Their odds of survival drop the longer that they're on their own. Awesome. Question. Can you tell a survivor to leave your group? Answer. Yes, but only if you have a really good reason, such as a bad attitude or a persistent cough. In such cases, you'll see you have an opportunity to have a talk with the survivor, and one option will be to tell them to leave. They may or may not accept your suggestion. Either way, community morale will likely drop if you expel or attempt to expel someone. Yeah, I kind of went over that a little bit in the last one. I like how they ended that, a similar question with another survivor would be like, well, if they're going to kick them out, what about me? Am I next? So that's cool. I love that dynamic. All right, next question. Will we be able to come across the people in the handbook? Answer. The Church of the Ascension is located in the game. You'll have to go there and see yourself. I am not familiar with what this means. There's a ton of info, and I guess I haven't read what that is. So, yeah, if you're interested in that, look up information on State of Decay in the handbook. I'm going to look that up later myself after I'm done with this. All right, next question. Can we save survivors and take them to other groups? I would like to save anyone I can, but I cannot feed / protect everyone. Answer. You can save people when they're in danger without also inviting them into your community. So, there you go. You can run around solo and not actually recruit people and save people if you want to. Awesome. And I'll try not to say awesome too much. This game is just so awesome. I'm at a loss of like better freaking words. All right, next question. What are the basic abilities that all survivors come with? For example, do all survivors have the ability to climb a fence? Answer. A fuller answer to your question will appear in an upcoming skills article. The short version is that everyone has basic gun skills, basic self-defense, enough wit to come in and out of the rain, and the ability to run faster than a zombie. And to your specific question, yes, everyone has enough athletic ability to hop a fence. Yeah, there's a really cool article on the skills that goes into the 4 main skills, like the cardio, the stamina, wits, and all that. So I highly suggest you just go in. It's a long article, and question answers are a lot easier to pace, and I don't want to just read like one long article, so I recommend just going and checking out that. I believe it's called A Matter of Character, I believe is the article. Alright, so next question. Do survivors have fears? Like if someone is afraid of heights, will he move slower or make more noise when up in high areas? Answer, nothing as elaborate as that yet, but some characters definitely have weaknesses which may affect how you use them. For example, someone who is squeamish improves their hand-to-hand combat skills slower than normal, and someone with a bum knee has trouble resting while crouched. Awesome. Alright, I need to come up with a better word. Radical. Alright, next question. Will there be survivor relationships? For example, if two characters are brothers and one dies, the other will be very upset and / maybe want to kill himself. Could two characters want to become partners? This was kind of gone over in my first video. Answer, not in the sense you're talking about. In the storyline, there are relationships between characters. You've noticed how some of them have the same last name, I'm sure, and the story we tell goes into their emotional reactions to danger and loss. Alright, next question. Will the survivors attack each other? I know there are no human enemies, but will there be survivor-on-survivor violence? Or will they just run away from the group, maybe steal something, or sabotage stuff in your home base? Answer, if things get ugly in your community, the results can be very serious. Remember, State of Decay works in 2 phases. There's how you deal with the challenges of the day when you are playing, and there's also the offline simulation that results from your choices. As a matter of principle, we try to give you a warning about brewing situations with potential fatal consequences. So you may hear about minor scuffles between community members while you are playing, but it's the offline events where they're more likely to seriously injure or even kill each other, accidentally or otherwise. Theft can happen as well. In fact, in most cases when survivors abandon your community, they will take a little something with them. Yeah, I really like that, the theft addition to that too. So you gotta stay on your P's and Q's in your home base, folks. Alright, next question. Does the primary character you play as take a leadership role right at the start, or does he have to earn that role? Answer, there is not much of a formal command structure in most of the survivor groups, so you'll have an opportunity to shape community actions from an early point. As mentioned in the article, we abstract this as a kind of currency that we label daily influence. You start each day with an amount of influence determined by your fame. You gain influence whenever you accomplish anything and anytime you want to direct the community to do something, or anytime you want to take extra supplies. You're spending influence. You cannot really stockpile influence except by gaining more fame. So you may use it. You may as well use it. Interesting. Alright, next question. Are there any social actions with your survivors beyond missions or calling them to pick up supplies? Answer, yes. If you're a character who has strengths in leadership, there are emotes you can trigger that have effects such as rallying and inspiring other members in your party. Very cool. The next question. Will we be able to influence the morale of other group members by having some kind of conversation where we could influence them to change their state or levels in said state by answering them in a specific way? Answer, doing positive things for your community always has the chance of turning someone's attitude around, but one of the tools you'll have for affecting someone's attitude directly is having a friendly conversation with them. This does not involve conversation trees. Instead, you'll invite the individual in question to go for a walk with you, and we'll talk through the issues in between Z encounters. There are a few ways for that to play out. There's no guarantee you'll turn someone's attitude around though, but you do get to say fun things like, you gotta figure out a way to deal with that shit, man. Take it out on the Zeds, not the rest of us, or you're gonna answer to me, man. Awesome. Alright, so next question. If a member dies, will we have the ability to bury or burn their body, or will it just eventually disappear like regular zombies? Answer, typically the Zeds do not leave you a whole corpse to bury. You will have an opportunity to collect their belongings though. Yeah, the zombies are gonna rip them apart. Eat them for breakfast and lunch. Alright, next question. Am I wrong in thinking that influence is personal? So it would make sense to keep your scavenger types on high on influence so that others are more willing to come help them carry out all that fat loot. Answer, influence is shared among all your playable survivors. This is for 2 reasons. First, it's just to remove hassle from you. We do not want you jumping back and forth between people just to figure it out who should spend influence telling the community to set up some generators. Second, it's because all your playable survivors are by definition friends. In fact, that's how it works. In order for someone to be playable, you need to befriend them. After that, everyone else views you as a social group and judges you that way. Very cool. All right, now we're moving on to survivor groups. Question: can influence buy things from other survivor groups, or do you have that to use cases of ammunition? Answer: besides cases of ammo, you can bum a Molotov or something like that off another survivor group with influence if you're on good terms. It usually costs more influence than at home though, and just how much depends on how much they trust you. Good. Next question: can you abandon one group of survivors for another? Answer: no, it's your community for better or for worse. On the plus side, it reflects all your choices. Very short answer and very concise. Next question: can the other survivor groups grow in numbers, and can my community aid theirs and vice versa? Answer: yes and yes, though many of them tend to dwindle in numbers over time rather than the reverse. Yeah. Because people are morons, they're going to kill each other. That's why I won't go into detail. All right, next question. Are the hordes attracted to the other survivor groups? If yes, can I aid them in their defense? Very short answer, yes. All right, now we're moving on to bases/facilities. When you decide to leave one home for another, I know you have to leave it for good, but will you have to rebuild everything you've already built all over again? If so, will it take just as long to build it a second time? And a related question: it seems like a waste if you're moving from one base to another to expand and then have to leave behind perfectly good facilities that you can disassemble for spare parts or something. And the answer to those are: your people will do their best to maintain the things you've created. This may mean transferring full facilities or may just mean collecting resources. Okay, so I guess you can. Probably depends on your survivors in your group. Alright, question. You've mentioned putting barbed wire around the exterior of your base as a method of slowing the invading zombies down and giving you more time to react. Will this be a feature we can use in State of Decay? Answer: yes. Everything in the journal is something that happens in the game. In the case of barbed wire, it's done automatically as a part of moving into a new home. A watchtower, on the other hand, is something you choose to build. Very freaking cool. Alright, next question. This game is based on real time. Does it take a long time to build the different facilities? Answer: a quick clarification. This game is not exactly real time. For instance, when you are logged in, our day-night cycle is 2 hours long. There is such a thing as too much realism, and we would hate for people who can only play at night to never see the Trumbull Valley sun. What the game does have is persistent time that continues to pass when you are offline, though not the same rate as when you're actively playing. But for example, you'd use, the example you'd used was the watchtower. It takes an hour real time to build a watchtower. However, there are methods of decreasing your build times. As we keep repeating, survivors are your biggest asset. If you have a community member with, say, a construction skill, this would speed up the process. Making friends with certain groups of other survivors can also provide ways to accelerate construction. Yes, indeed. All right, next question. If the place you're staying at ends up being overrun, can you and other survivors run and find a new place, or will they just stay and fight, or scatter and run in all directions, like crazy maniacs? I added that last part. Answer: packing up and leaving your home base will not be a light decision to make. First of all, you have to have another location scouted out to move to. Then you need to make sure you have the people and resources to maintain it. Once that's all done, you still need to have support from your community to make the big move. In regards to the fight or flight, these vary situationally per character. A coward might leave your community after the first zombie horde tries to break through the defenses, but the same coward might stay through thick and thin if you manage to gain their friendship and trust. Alright, next question. Do you need health/medical stations to heal survivors, or just med kits? Answer: what's that saying? Time heals all wounds. There's no instant medkit healing. You can carry around painkillers for use and use them to restore your vitality on the fly. That'll keep you from collapsing, but real damage that you take, which appears as a decrease in your max fatality, requires recovery time. People can also get serious injuries that take them out of commission, preventing them from contributing to the community in a meaningful way while they recover. What's more, with serious wounds or injuries, there's a chance that instead of recuperating, someone will take a turn for the worse. This is where a well-stocked infirmary, along with someone with medical training, veterans count by the way, comes into play. The better your medical facilities, the better the odds and speed of recovery. Now we're moving on to resources. How will the food/water resources be used? Is the food in the stockpile that everyone feeds until it runs out? Answer: the food is in a general stockpile that people hit up as needed. If you have a storage room, you'll find there's a little less random pilfering. You can also cook big meals, or if you have someone who really knows how to cook, a feast. These provide temporary statistical bonuses. So cool. All right, next question. If I do not find enough food, can I choose who to feed first in a situation where I have 30 hungry survivors and only 10 meals? Can you ration food out to the survivors you want to keep and let the lazy people go hungry? Answer: no. The survivors have minds of their own and would still feed themselves if you told them not to eat. On the plus side, if you're really low on food, people will not simply starve either. They'll take it upon themselves to go look for food, which may open them to extra risk if they're doing it out of desperation. But it's better than starving. Alright, so cool. Next question. Will NPCs act on their own to gather supplies while you are offline if supplies begin to run low? Answer: yes. While you are offline, the community will continue to try to function and maintain its current state. Remember that time does not pass offline at the same rate as it does while you are online, and in the case of prolonged absence, will all but stop. If you have to take an extended break from the game for any reason, you will not come back to find a picked clean world. Very good. All right, next question. How are the food supplies counted? Per person or some other unit of measurement? Answer: daily rations. So 1 unit is enough food to feed 1 person for 1 day. We wanted to keep it simple, and I agree. Alright, so now we're moving on to zombies. the good stuff. Alright, question. We know that survivors do not become We know that survivors do not become zombies if they get bitten, but if you die from a zombie attack, will you turn? Answer: you'll probably get torn apart and eaten instead. Next question. If a member of your community commits suicide, will that person turn into a zombie, assuming their suicide method left their head intact? What if they die in a fight with no head trauma? Could that possibly start an outbreak in your base? Answer: violent deaths do not tend to be the issue, since the zombies will rip apart the corpse and eat it if given half a chance. On the other hand, though, the threat of someone succumbing in their sleep while you are offline, reanimating, and taking out half the population is one of the core concerns of every survivor group. If someone in your community becomes gravely ill or injured, you'll have a real decision to make. So cool. Next question. If you see a horde heading toward your home/base, can you tell your group to stay quiet until they pass by? Answer: your survivors will generally follow the leads of whichever survivor you happen to be driving. So if you do not shoot, they will not shoot. You can tell individual survivors to stay quiet and sneak along when you are out and about. As for a specific community-wide be quiet command, the answer is no. Alright, next question. I've seen in the gameplays on how zombies jog towards you when they either hear you or see you. But does this also work when you are inside a building? Do zombies continue to jog when they enter the building, or do they immediately stop and begin to walk? That's a cool question. Answer: each zombie type has 2 speeds. The faster speed is the one they use when they have when you have attracted their attention. They slow down when they have lost you. So yeah, so they'll be running up on you, even inside a building. Alright, now we're moving on to miscellaneous. How I like to say it, it's miscellaneous, but I like miscellaneous. Alright, question. Seeing how we need to keep up the places we've scavenged, can you guys make a printable map or an online interactive map you can customize? Answer. You'll automatically note where you've been and what you've found on the map in game. We haven't discussed the future possibility of a fully interactive map. So you will automatically note where you've been on the maps, but it will not be fully interactive. Interesting. I haven't even really thought of that dynamic. That's pretty cool. Alright, question. Do good things and people will thank you? Makes sense. But what if I want to be a douche? I'd assume people will think less of me, but what will the consequences be of that? Not as many survivors wanting to join, and neighbors being less willing to trade with me as I take as a given. But what of the community I'm already in? The douche question. Always there's, yeah, alright, I won't go into it. Answer. Depends on the people in it. Some will not want to be a part of a community like that. Most are just interested in survival and will not care what your reputation is. Alright, cool. Next question. I wanted to know if there will be a lot of cussing in this. I'd like to play this amazing zombie game without cringing every time somebody drops the F-bomb. Answer. It's a mature game, people. Answer. There is cussing. How much depends on the character. Some of the people you'll find in the game swear quite a bit. Others don't swear at all. As you'll probably figure it out, you'll want to avoid Sam Hoffman if you don't care for F-bombs. Alright, so you heard it here. If you're not a big fan of F-bombs in mature-rated video games, you shouldn't be buying mature-rated video games if you don't want F-bombs, but avoid Sam Hoffman in that case. And, yeah, maybe his brother Mike Hoffman. Joke. Don't worry about it. Alright, question. Will there be Survivor random events or random world events, i.e. Survivor random events like suicide, diseases, etc.? Answer. Yes, but not entirely random. Everything that happens in State of Decay is a result of your previous choices and actions, or inactions. Survivors will not commit suicide without dropping into a depression first, but a lot of things that happen, like an accidental shooting at home, do have some randomness to that. Our rule of thumb is to never do anything with fatal consequences without giving you a fair warning. In terms of world events, the situation out there does change independent of your actions. How you adapt to it is up to you. Sweet. So the world events will have randomness added to them. Besides the main story, that the side missions and other events will have randomness to it, which just really adds to the replayability of this game. And I'm going to go back to that word. Makes it awesome. Alright, so next question. Can you create booby traps? Awesome. Answer. Yes, but bear in mind that you cannot make anything that is not on the predefined list of items. You can manufacture landmines and set up a chain of landmines, for example. You'll probably enjoy finding creative ways to use the different objects in new, undocumented ways. Sweet. Alright, and this is the final question. I have a question about playing as Lone Wolf. Okay, so that's the question, I guess. Answer. We were not able to support going fully Lone Wolf, but you could try to get through the game with as small a community as possible and work with other communities as little as possible. You won't be able to avoid having a home or someone communicating with you over the radio, and for a chunk of the game, you will have a few companions you cannot shake. Okay, so due to the storyline, they're going to be doing that. And I guess due to communication reasons, you're going to have at least one person at your base. So you can still, like my thoughts about the hardcore mode, you might not be able to play it completely solo, but you could still play with just probably one or two people. I really don't know. I'm not a developer. This is just kind of what I'm putting together myself. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of information. Let's see where I'm at time-wise. A little shorter than the last video. Alright guys, I am so looking forward to this game. Like I said in my last one, I'm hoping it's out sometime in March. But if you've ever followed video games, you know how nothing is set in stone until we hear it ourselves. I saw a video clip just before I started making this video of somebody on a flip phone making a small video that looked like State of Decay information is now in the Xbox Live Arcade, which it wasn't there just a day or two. I've been looking every day to see when it's coming out because I'm really surprised that there's not like teaser videos or something. So I believe if you go check Xbox Live Arcade now and look up State of Decay, there should be some information on you, for you to tease you a little bit more. Alright guys, so once again, thanks for listening, and thanks for letting me tickle your eardrums with my words, and yeah, I look really forward to bashing some zombies' brains in. Alright guys, see ya.